The Linkin Park Scientology Emily Armstrong story is blowing up the internet. We're also going to hear a response from Rebecca Minkoff that is one of the most Scientology responses I think I've ever heard about something. We're going to talk about that and so much more today. Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Big hello to everybody in the chat. Good to see you there. Hello to the members. Thank you for being here. And big thank you to the moderators for helping out today. We've got the crew here, so let's get into it. There's so much news to cover today, including, like I was saying, the whole Linkin Park, Emily Armstrong saga. There's new information out about it. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into some protest news, just a whole bunch of stuff. So, hey, everybody, let's jump to the first thing here. Where should we start first? We are going to start first at some news I meant to cover yesterday, and I got so distracted, and I didn't even cover it, so we're doing it today. Let's just talk for a hot minute about Leah Remini's divorce. News is out that Leah Remini and Angelo Pagan, her soon-to-be ex-husband, settled divorce without alimony battle, which anybody who's been divorced, that's kind of a big step there. So it says Leah Remini, star of Cheers and the King of Queens, is divorcing her longtime partner, businessman Angelo Pagan. New court documents reveal the couple's plans regarding alimony. And it goes on to kind of talk about including her ties to Scientology and the harassment that happened. I mean, keep in mind too, like that, he must have gone through that with her. Your family goes through it when you are being harassed and stalked by Scientology, like Leah Remini has been. But it's good news that they can get through the divorce amicably. So far so good. And I'll be honest, I'm rooting for it. It's not an easy thing to do, especially to do after I found myself within 2 years of leaving Scientology, I got a divorce. I think there's something about, from my own personal experience, I'm talking about me now, not speaking for Leah, about when you start pulling away that cult mentality and you start thinking about like, okay, well, who am I? Who am I without Scientology? Like what is me and what is Scientology? What is my indoctrination? What is it I actually believe? A lot of that goes on and you're a different person. Many of you, people never in Scientology, have, I think, that experience. I mean, they were married for 21 years, together for 28 years. That is a really long time. But I get it. I get it. So let's take a look now let's talk a little bit about this Rebecca Minkoff thing. Rebecca Minkoff, Scientologist, handbag designer. She's on The Real Housewives of New York, which is going to air in October. And I caught a short here's what's interesting to me. Her channel made the short. And I'm like, are you even recognizing what you just said, which is actually a violation of L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology's policy? So we're going to look at the short and you might not catch it, but I'm going to explain to you why this is a thing. Why is this little conversation a thing here? Give this a little listen.
Resent you for being good. It's kind of weird. I would love great people who hit it out of the ballpark. I'm like, great. You can do it from now on. There's a weird thing about some people in this world. Yeah, they resent you for not failing.
Correct. Because they have their own failed purposes, and that's the only way they know how to feel better is if, taking satisfaction in your own failure.
Okay, let's talk about that part for a hot minute here. Their own failed purposes. That is a Scientology term. I don't think people outside of Scientology say that. You would say failed in your purpose or something like that. But failed purpose is very Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard said when somebody has a failed purpose, that's basically like you're trying to do something and you get disheartened and discouraged about it because you didn't make it happen. You failed at that, right? It's a failed purpose. You had a purpose or a reason to do something and you failed at it. And L. Ron Hubbard says you just have to revitalize that purpose, which, kind of makes sense. I think that's one of those natural universal laws. You got to kind of hype yourself and pep talk. If you're, you really say you want to be an artist and you feel like you're not making it, but you really believe in yourself and your art. So you can pour the coals on that and what your desire was to do that in the first place. What was your purpose in doing it? Let's get all fired up about that again. But people outside of Scientology, and tell me in the chat, and if you're on the replay, no slacking, jump in those comments. Failed purpose. Is that something you guys say? You guys, listen to me. All you never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult. Failed purpose. I don't think anybody says that. And it's a violation of Scientology policy and teachings that you never give people misunderstood words, or especially using Scientology that way. That goes to show how second nature it is, where that Scientology language permeates. And it just becomes such a big thing. But okay, I'm seeing your comments. You're all like, no, we don't say that. We don't say that. Miss Kim is like, nope. Send to Scientology. Never said it. No, Mary James, never have I said that. I think it totally is. I think it's totally only a Scientology term. And girl could get in trouble for that, because you're not supposed to be using Scientology terminology when people don't understand. But she did, and I'm here for it. So I like that little gem there. Some other little gems that we've been getting. We've been talking so much about Kansas City lately, because I'm telling you, Scientology in Kansas City, Missouri is getting next level ridiculous. Next level. They are doubling down. There was this event in Kansas City, Missouri last night. It's called, I think, First Friday, where people get out, shops, bars are open, all of the things. So it becomes much busier, more foot traffic in front of Scientology. And they're out there trying to capitalize on it. But guess what? Auditing Scientology Kansas City was there while they were doing it, and they didn't get too far. And if you remember, if you caught my live stream, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where there was an encounter with a protester and this older gentleman who was all like, I'm going to follow you home. I'm going to follow you home and chalk on your sidewalk. Because, that's not creepy. Not at all. It's almost like Scientology Kansas City is sending out their older, mature Scientologists to do what? I don't know. Apparently recruit, you put your best. They apparently didn't get the memo that, Chicago has, which is you put your younger, attractive people in front to recruit for Scientology. Kansas City is doing the polar opposite. Let's take a look. Yep. Nobody wants your flyers, dude. Nobody wants your flyers. You like how that one guy just brushed him off? So this is the older gentleman from the other day. You guys recognize him? I'm going to follow you home and chalk in front of your house for a year. How would you like it? Yeah, they're like, no, they're not having it. They're not picking up what this man is putting down right in front of the door. I mean, it looks like they're trying to get out. And you know what? Let's recruit. We're going to recruit for Scientology. Like they got some orders or something from David Miscavige saying, you leave those windows open. When you open them, when there's people in there, so everybody can see there are 2 people in there on this super busy night in Kansas City. Stop saying there's no public in the building. Leave the blinds open so they can see it. They even left open L. Ron Hubbard's office, where they had a light on there so you can see inside. Normally that's all closed up. They're closing all these windows, but because I think it was this First Friday, they were out there doing their best to recruit. And apparently it wasn't working with just the one guy. Oh, and here's auditing Scientology Kansas City right now. It's his footage that we're looking at. Hey, Mike. I've seen him heading off with Desiree in a car loaded with a table and Dianetics books. Okay, that tells us they are off someplace to go do some Scientology recruiting. Laura says, that is their younger, more attractive Sea Org. Laura. That's hilarious. It could be. It really could. Okay, so they're out there and the one guy wasn't cutting it, right? Just didn't seem like much was going on. So they thought they would shake it up and then there were 3 and they did bring out somebody who's a bit younger.
So I wonder if they're all OTs, maybe they'll gang up on me.
Mike's wondering if they're going to use their operating Thetan powers to gang up on him. No, they're just going to all stand there creepily looking at people as they walk by in front of them. I mean, imagine it. You're a person, you're out in Kansas City. You're like, let's go for a drink. It's First Friday. Maybe we can, I don't know, find some sushi, whatever people do. whatever you do in town in a busy area like that, and you go walking by Scientology, he didn't even try to hand out promotional items to those guys. What's up with that? He had a prime opportunity there. So 3 of them out there, and you think, okay, well, right, maybe that did it. Maybe now this will improve their chances of handing out promo out there. It did not. In fact, there was one interaction here. Let's take where the guy handing out the promo, I'm sure he was desperate because nobody wanted to be taking it. So he thought, you know who would probably take it? Auditing Scientology.
Shortly. And how are you?
I guess you don't want one of these.
Yeah.
Little look inside the org there, which is usually, covered up. But I mean, the guy, it's almost sad, you guys, because it's like, wow, nobody wants it. And it's like, I guess you don't want one of these. That you're even trying to hand it out. Because remember, this guy's statistic is number of pieces that have been distributed. So however many pieces he hands out, that is his statistic. I'm telling you, I don't get it. I just don't get what the strategy is, because I think that there are none. There are none. Just a Northern Girl says, I would have loved to have known exactly what he would have chalked outside her house. That's a good question. What are you going to, like, what? What are you going to write? What are you going to chalk when you're done following her home? It's just bizarre. Mary James says, sure, I'll take one of yours if you take one of mine. That's right. Would he? Would he take one of those SPTV.SPACE cards and see? Hey, Z News, good to see you. You mean after you threatened us? Yes, it was Z News who he threatened to follow her home and chalk outside her home for a year, from what I recall. Yeah, after he threatened you. What's up with that? What is up with that? Okay, just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder in Scientology, let's go over to Texas, where Hitzel was out there letting people know what was what when it comes to Scientology, and caught a staff member. I don't know if he's the org or he's just a staff member, but he seems to be involved in some very intense squats because, you got to build up. You want to build up those glutes in Scientology in case you ever need to run away. You need to be ready. You have to be able to outrun security. You got to outrun your senior. You got to outrun your peers as they're chasing you down with knowledge reports that they've written on you. It's all kinds of crazy. So let's take a look at this interaction. Oh, this is the dude who got super mad in the past. Oh, where did we see that? It might have been on Selfish stream or even Pearl Snappy back in the day. This is the guy that got pissed like a couple times. I think he was also in Chicago. And
there's a lot of people escaping.
I love too. She just keeps protesting Scientology and let him know what's up. And he's like, no, ain't nothing going to bring me down. Nothing going to slow his roll. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. There we go. Get those glutes going. You got it. You got it. Got to be ready to run. You could have to take off at any moment. You need to be ready. The feds could show up. What if the FBI shows up and you got to take off? What if it's a surprise raid on Scientology? There's just a million reasons why staff members have to be in shape. So I guess I'm happy to see this and see them taking action, like proactive action to, improve themselves. Joe says, wonder if he's farting out those thetans. Maybe this is OT 9 and 10, operating thetan levels 9 and 10 that have been held as a carrot to Scientologists for years. That could be it. Inhale, exhale, let out the fart. Inhale, exhale. Who knows? It definitely looks like something. So let's see. Also out there in front of Austin, letting people know, don't get recruited into Scientology. The staff members, by the way, are starting to tell public to, call me when you're here and I'll walk you in because there are criminal protesters outside.
What about Danny Masterson? You can escape the cult of...
Look at her. She looked back. She's kind of listening. You can tell this is a person who's new. Whoever this woman is, she's new.
Scientology. Don't let them recruit you. It's a dangerous place to be.
And I'm sure they're telling her all kinds of stuff about the protester, this or that about her. I'm telling you. Miss Kim says Hitzel is killing it. She'll leave long enough for them to open back up and then come back. And she's taken 6 boxes of pamphlets from the suburbs of Austin. That's amazing. That is fantastic. Oh, I love that. I love it. I love it so much. That's so great. That's fantastic. 6 boxes. That's incredible. Let's go over to San Francisco now, where we find out something a bit disturbing, but not surprising. Did you guys know that Scientology is using facial recognition of people who come into their organization to identify them? They are. Now, people do, right? We see that even in the protest world, you'll use facial recognition to identify people. It's just, it seems to be a thing. The technology comes out and people start figuring out ways to use it. Well, Scientology has figured out how to use it.
And I think that's James Dean, yep. Somebody said once that, 'cause I was talking about the kids going in and out, and they said that their friends did it, and they still gave them all the bad, all the dumper numbers and emails and everything else. And they found who they were by facial recognition software. And so now I'm going to tell the kids, now that it's after, that don't go in there. Just don't go in there.
So did you hear that? And when she says kids, I think she's talking about like the college age kids that go in there just for fun and for laughs. They gave their false information, but Scientology still found them and found them through facial recognition. Isn't that you go in to find out some information? Maybe you watch a film, maybe even you buy a book. Does that then give them the right to hunt you down using facial recognition so they can find out your true contact info and get you on that mailing list and all of the things? It's creepy, right? Yep, that's frightening. I agree, Nancy. It's just weird. It is weird. Makes me want to wear a mask. Oh, Miss Kim, they already know who you are. You've been out there quite a bit. But right, doesn't it? It's just weird. It is. It's so invasive, especially when you go in there and you're not giving your information. It's for a reason, and that's how they're tracking people down. Hey, Pootigaroo. Okay, now let's go over and look at some news out of Los Angeles because Audit LA shared something very interesting. You know, we've seen those planters outside of Scientology in Los Angeles on L. Ron Hubbard Way. They've been trying to basically block the sidewalks because David Miscavige is so frightened that there could be another encampment. Those went up immediately. Well, guess what? Guess what? Audit LA says, I have confirmed that the church in quotes, of Scientology has been ordered by the city to remove the planters. There should be notices on the planters, but it's been confirmed that they were also mailed notices and spoken to on the phone about it. They are given a certain amount of time to comply. I don't know the timeline yet and what will happen if they don't comply. More on this to come. That is from Audit LA. You can find her here on YouTube. She's out live streaming. She attends the city council meetings. She's been out there doing some great stuff too with Fat Grammy. Definitely check it out. I agree. Audit LA and Fat Grammy are rocking it. I agree. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. What are they going to do about it? Yeah, maybe an invisibility cloak. They're just going to throw it over the planters. Oh, I'm telling you. They're so dumb. The planters. I'm like, serious? What are you going to do now when those are gone? We'll have to wait and see because I don't feel like they're just going to get rid of the planters and then nothing. You know, Scientology tries to not take these things laying down. I don't know, but they look ridiculous in the process. Let's take a look now. There is something happening on L. Ron Hubbard Way. Must be another event coming up because there is all these different flags are out. This is on L. Ron Hubbard Way. The planters are still there because, you know, they're given a certain amount of time to comply. It is nice that they put some benches out. I will say that. And then they got the tables on the street because the street is still closed. But here's the thing. I'm wondering what they're up to. What is the event that they at least claim is coming up? Because they've got this giant sign. Look how bright this thing is. Look how bright that is. Freedom. Freedom, freedom, the irony, freedom. Meanwhile, right there in the building where you see all of those blinds closed, those are where Sea Org members on the higher parts of the building are living. They are also working in the same building, living and working, not having any regular time off, no breaks, 24/7, working 100 plus hours a week for basically $47 a week, and the promise that you're helping to save the planet. And now they got this giant freedom sign out there. I'm like, what? What is what here? What is what? People should go take some fun photos with that. That is a photo op. Same way that people stand in front of the Scientology sign to ironically take photos because it's a cult. I feel like the same thing. It's like freedom, really? Really, Scientology? It just seems, I don't know, a little too on the nose. You're just like writing the jokes for us at this point. Janet Burns, thank you for being a member for 5 months. I truly appreciate that. Hip, hip, hooray, up in the north, became a member of the channel. I truly appreciate that support and thank you. Capricious Caroline, who's been a member for 4 months, says Scientology equals crap. See how I nailed the Scottish accent there? Did you guys know I'm also Scottish? My grandfather was born in Scotland, and when he was 6 months old, his family moved to Hawaii, which is where he met my grandmother, who's Hawaiian and Chinese, and they had my dad and so on. And then, I show up. So little side note there in case there's any type of trivia and someone says, where was one of Natalie's grandfathers from? You got it there. Oh, Desert Dog, well said. Wake up, Sea Org. Freedom is a thing. It is. I can't wait to find out why they have that there. What is their reasoning, right? What is it? Okay, we're going to get into more on the Linkin Park. Every time I say Linkin Park, I think of LinkedIn. You can tell that work is a primary focus of mine, even though my LinkedIn is so out of date. Anywho, this whole Linkin Park, Emily Armstrong, the reported Scientologist who is now one of the co-vocalists, news is coming out. Fans are in uproar. A lot of them who know about Scientology, some of them don't and might be like, well, what's the what here? What does it matter? Well, it matters a lot. And we're going to look at why, some new news that's out and things that are being brought to the forefront by this community. Phoenix Fire 420, thank you for being a member for 2 months. I appreciate that. Thank you for the hearts and strong as well. So let's look at this. Let's start off with, you guys, I'm telling you, if you guys haven't heard the latest news on this, it's crazy what's coming out. This particular article in Clash is really covering what Cedric Bixler Zavala said, and he's married to Chrissy Carnell Bixler, who was one of the Jane Does in the Masterson case. He so called them out. So he wrote, he left a comment on Dead Sarah's Instagram, which was, I'm surprised none of you wrote a letter on Danny Masterson's behalf since your corny ass singer showed up to support him in the prelims. Remember, Emily? Remember how your fellow Scientologist goon squad surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators? The court sheriffs had to escort her away from your awful cult. Remember when we did the purification rundown, Emily? You were directed to safe point me because of what my wife knew. His wife knew about Danny Masterson, and it sounds like he's saying that Emily was charged with making sure he's staying cool, which Scientology does that. They use other Scientologists who they think can influence somebody else to keep them quiet. Why can't you shut your mouth during the detox program where people are going through some rough shit, but your corny ass is singing like an unsupervised child? Is it because you're a born-in Scientologist that gets a pass? How do you reconcile the homophobia found in the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics? Do your fans know about your Danny Masterson, your our friend? The comment was deleted, but is widely available through multiple screenshots. I mean, it's just really, that statement right there that he made is a lot of what's making the news and a lot of the articles and a lot of different, what people are talking about. This is really what they're talking about. In fact, let's take a look at this is Rocked here on YouTube, who covered this.
Linkin Park is back and we can all be happy. So, turns out Emily Armstrong is, or at least has been, deep with Scientology, which is confirmed by photos, her appearances, and who she is associated with in the past. It's messy, and we once again cannot have nice things. I want to start off with giving my experience to the live show. My wife and I, constant photographers, we were on our way to shoot Powerwolf live, and on the way up was when the live stream started. We heard Linkin Park open with a new song, heard Emily's voice, and we both thought it worked. Then we heard her cover older Linkin Park songs, and for the most part, it worked well. Sounded solid, no complaints. I even put a poll in the community tab last night. A lot of feedback and mostly positive support. I mean, this should be cause for celebration, right? I saw the announcement of the new album from Zero in 6 states worldwide that actually go around the world. It felt like Linkin Park was back. It was at the concert between sets that my wife showed me some comments online, and then more people started referencing articles and photos that led.
The news was just coming out. It really has been all over the place. And it's from my end, from my perspective, you know, people send me emails, Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. If you see something, say something, Scientology cult related article, timestamp videos, send it to me. And it's just the biggest thing that I'm hearing about. Absolutely. Katie Bell, thank you for being a member for 3 months. This may be good for shining a light on Scientology, just like the housewives. Girl, you read my mind. That is exactly what I was getting to next. And to share that with you, I brought Dear Leader, Office of Special Affairs, wake up, my lovelies, because this is a busy, busy, busy week for you right now. You got to get on it. You've got Emily Armstrong over there, somebody who, guess what? Born into the Sea Org, was in the Cadet Org. The Cadet Org, not just grew up in Scientology. This girl was in the Cadet Org. There's been people who have come forward. In fact, we're going to look at a clip from growing up in Scientology, and you're going to learn just how much of a Scientologist that she is or was, because I will say, honestly, she hasn't commented on Scientology. She did comment on the mistake she made in supporting Danny Masterson, but she didn't mention to Scientology, which is kind of the first rule as a Scientologist is not to talk about Scientology. So I don't think that helped her. But the fact that this is making so much news, and this is why it's a problem for our friends at the Office of Special Affairs. It is bringing to the forefront, just like with Rebecca Minkoff and the Real Housewives, the actual crimes and abuses of Scientology. So this is a great thing. And I wish the girl well. I don't wish Emily Armstrong any harm. I mean, she's doing her thing. And it's even great that she got this opportunity. But she knows. She knows. She knows. She knows. She has seen something. I'd like to see her say something. I'm telling you. Phil Jones is saying that little Davy is going to have multiple headache engrams from all the microphone bongs. Well, he can get that audited out. I should give him a contact assist and just tap it back. So you guys get the whole deal here. This is huge, especially when it comes to exposing Scientology, because that is pretty much what the story is about. And whole new areas, more new people are being introduced to why Scientology is a human trafficking cult. And I'm so here for it. They're going to find out. They're going to know. They're definitely going to know. They're finding out. And thank you to all of you who helped get that word out too. Liking these videos, subscribing, sharing them, sharing the other news and stuff. And all about this too really helps. So let's take a look now. Let's see here. There's a second part to this from Rocked that they're talking about that I wanted to share with you that y'all shared with me.
But Cedric Bixler-Zavala of the Mars Volta Inn at the Drive-In, who with his wife helped open up the evils of Scientology and put Danny Masterson in jail, has come out swinging about Emily Armstrong and her past. Whether she was born into Scientology or not is one thing, but it was confirmed that she was a supporter of criminal Danny Masterson, who did unspeakable things to women for years, and the Church of Scientology helped support and keep his behavior down for years until it was all made public. So much of a supporter that she apparently showed up in his SA trial just in support. She wasn't testifying or anything, but just there for him to support Masterson in his SA trial. All of this sounds like a nightmare. I'm not saying I know the full story or her current stance on Scientology, and I'm not saying she couldn't have had a comeback to reality moment since the last year or so, but it begs the question, did Linkin Park know about all this? And if so, were they okay with all this? But Cedric Bixler-Zavala of the Mars Volta Inn at the
Yes. And then it comes out because Scientology and the ex-Scientology community is pretty much a small world, or at least there's you could if you don't know the person, you know someone who does. you definitely know someone who knows someone who does. I mean, it's probably that tight. I really think that it is. So let's take a look at a clip from Growing Up in Scientology where Aaron dropped some truth bombs. Check it out.
And one of the things I said in my video yesterday is, Emily is actually herself, by any reasonable definition, a victim of Scientology. She was born into it. She was brought up in it. She was basically a child slave for Scientology. I received information from a couple people today about Emily, who knew her as a child in Scientology. And I want to read a couple things. Both of these people were also kids in Scientology at the same time that Emily was both of the people I'm going to read you information from were basically child slaves in Scientology at the same time and with Emily while she was also a child slave in Scientology. The information from the first person says, first of all, it verified that both of her parents worked for the Office of Special Affairs and that both of her parents are still members of the Sea organization. They both would still be in the Office of Special Affairs. This person said there is a small possibility that her dad has recently passed away, but her mother is still alive and still working in the Office of Special Affairs.
I think I even remember, I need to confirm if it's the people I'm thinking of. I might have worked with her dad for a while in the Sea Org. I'm just not 100% sure of that. But so much is coming out now about this that she's not going to be able to just brush it under the rug. And I think that especially fans of Linkin Park they should be able to ask and find out where she stands on this. And if she is a Scientologist and fully supports Scientology, then she should say so. And that's her choice to do that. But it doesn't mean there might not be some backlash from that. Here's another scenario that I wanted to run by you guys too, is, based on the statement that she made when she came out and made that statement about that she went to support a friend, but quickly realized that was a mistake. She doesn't say who it was or the details about it, which sounds like a really crafted PR statement. That was when she was at Danny Masterson's trial. But here's the thing, when you're born into the Sea Org, especially, and you're in the cadet organization, people she was with who experienced neglect and abuses and have spoken out about it are saying she is fully aware of what happened and what that was like. And she remains a Scientologist. If she's not, here's the other scenario I'm thinking. What if she, is doing the quiet thing? If she's quiet quitting Scientology, her mother still being in the Sea Org, not just a Scientologist, people, in the Sea organization, not just in the Sea organization, people, but in the Office of Special Affairs. I just think that somebody's going to be in big trouble. Here's the thing. And what does this say when how Scientologists don't wake up from this one part alone? When you do anything publicly and it comes out that you're a Scientologist, there's all this backlash now. Why? Because word has gotten out. There's been enough whistleblowers, different platforms covering this. More and more people never in Scientology, but all in on bringing down the cult, are exposing it and sharing about it and knowing about it. And they're just like, they're not down with that. It's going to come out. So if she is not full blown, like let's just say she got one foot out the door and she's quiet quitting Scientology and her mother works for OSA, if she wants to maintain any connection, not just to her mother, but to other people in her life who are Scientologists, and I believe someone in her other band is a Scientologist, a practicing Scientologist, then you can't be in connection. So sometimes people who kind of want to quiet quit Scientology or be under the radar, as we call it, just will go along and not say anything. I don't know that that's the case. She could be a hardcore 100%. L. Ron is my homie Scientologist. I don't know. But even if she's not, per Scientology's rules, she is not able to say that. She can't not. But it is going to continue to shine light about the abuses of Scientology. CN, would she be able to release a statement about Masterson if she was still a member? Yes. I mean, the way she did it, she didn't name them. She didn't give specifics. She didn't do what in Scientology is called repeating the enemy line, that kind of thing. She could to a degree, especially if Scientology saw what she was doing. Like, let's say that Scientology for sure thinks she's a full-blown Scientologist. Whether she really is or not, who knows? Here's the thing. There is the expectation that she's going to recruit for Scientology and get that word out. And they become very happy about this because they think she's going to reach and influence so many people who are then going to want to buy Dianetics, like Tom Cruise. So I'm sure they're thinking they're going to get the whole Linkin Park community and fans on board with Scientology because here's this cool Scientologist, a younger person who's doing Scientology. I don't know. She's really in between a rock and a hard place here. And honestly, if her mother being still in the Sea Organosa, she's not seeing her anyways. Likely, you're not seeing your mom likely anyways. I'm not saying it'd be worth the disconnection, but how long do you go playing the game? You know, as long as Scientologists, ex-Scientologists, whatever, you follow these rules of disconnection, you follow these harmful practices in Scientology, you're perpetuating it. You are. There needs to be a line. And again, I would just like to hear her say, okay, you know what? I am a Scientologist. This is the religion that I practice, blah, blah, blah. People aren't going to like it, but at least address it. Or that it's something I grew up in, but I left years ago, and then put it to bed. The fact that she didn't say that yet tells me she is either very much still a Scientologist and believes, or she's not ready to lose all of that family and potentially other friend connections as well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. You guys tell me what you think. Haggis Baxter says, Linkin Park deleted my comment from their video. I can only imagine what your comment was. Let's see. Afila, yes, parents in OSA is a big deal. Needs to be called out. Not saying it's easy, but it's the right thing to do. Anyway, I don't buy it with how they behaved in court. Yes. Exactly. And also a question I'm seeing a lot, how much of this did Linkin Park know? Did they not know that Scientology is a cult and the accusations and repeated reports about abuse that have been coming out for years? Do they know? Do they not know? I'll tell you what they know. They know now. They know now. They do. Mad Drop Bear seems to be a bit of a Hail Mary pass to save point Linkin Park. I think you're right. Joe says she's destroying the relaunch of the band. Zelda says, I feel for her. I agree. I do too. Because as a young woman, she's got to this place in her career and she has this incredible opportunity, and it's all being overshadowed by her being a Scientologist and her connection to Scientology and Danny Masterson. But it's like, well, that's a consequence of your life choice. That's a consequence of choices you made and people you chose to support, despite knowing what you know. You were in the cadet organization. You knew. Did you block it out? Maybe. Sometimes people do. I don't know. But she was there. But Zelda, I'm with you. I do feel for her. I actually really do, because it's an accomplishment. But now all this is coming out. I'm hoping it just helps her leave Scientology, honestly. Choose the path without Scientology, the path where Linkin Park fans would very well embrace you if you disassociated from Scientology and called it out. Casey Cat, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Linkin Park didn't think this through. I agree. Wheezy, I bet Chester knew. Yeah. Kathy says if they didn't know, they must have been living under a rock. So true. So true. Yeah. And Phoenix Fire says, lucky you got your comments deleted. During the stream, I've been answering to comments I made on their community tab. Yeah. And there's tons of it. There's so many comments about this. Christy says, given Scientology's obsession with celebs, do you think she would have a little more flexibility? She's openly gay, making a failed statement in support of Masterson's victims. Yeah. And if she is openly gay, that's the other thing. Like, girl, have you read Dianetics? Science of Survival? The tone scale? It's no secret where L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology stands on homosexuality. He lumps it in with sexual perversions and criminals. Absolutely he does. So how's that work? How does that work? I don't get how that works. I really don't. SP Crusader, if Emily's still in, wouldn't her mom think she was an antisocial personality? Number of generalities in apology. Well, for PR purposes, they're keeping it general. But if her mom is still in, would her mom think she was an antisocial personality? No, not unless she leaves Scientology. Then, of course, she is. Of course. Phil says, I find it more disturbing that she supported Masterson than she's a Scientologist. That's interesting, Phil. I have to think about that. Yeah. I'm not, yeah, I can see how you would feel that way. And if it's true that she pulled away from that, I mean, I don't know. There's just so many unknowns, but a heck of a lot of red flags. Mama Ray Ray, thank you for becoming a member. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you so much. Mad Drop Bear, isn't gayness low tone to Scientology? Yes. So Scientology has this emotional scale of emotions, tone levels, and there are characteristics of her personality that go along with each one. And yeah, they consider it to be what's called 1.1. And on the emotional tone scale, the image is somebody smiling while hiding a knife behind their back. That is what L. Ron Hubbard says people who are gay, that's what they are, that they're 1.1. Covert hostility is what it's called. Good point. If she's gay, wouldn't her mother disconnect anyways? Maybe, maybe not. The fact that she's had success as an artist makes her a celebrity. Celebrities are given a bit more wiggle room. Let's not forget Catherine Bell, who lives openly as a lesbian, and Scientology just kind of like lets that ride. Because she probably is the one, like the token, like, no, she's doing that. See? It doesn't mean anything. CN, she went to his pretrial hearing and that was it. The facts weren't shown yet on him. So my opinion, it's a lot different than supporting him after evidence verdict. Yeah, I get that. Hold on a second here. Let's pull this up. Steeler Princess, thank you so much for the super chat. The guy, Cedric, that wrote that post is Chrissy Bixler's husband. Yes. Yep, he is. Casey Cat, we read that one. Casey Cat, thank you. Currently rereading Dianetics after reading it the first time back in the 70s. With what I know, it's hitting totally different this time around. I get that. I have been going back and reading some very small amounts because I do find it still to be a bit triggering. Scientology, to just try and like wrap my head around how I wrapped my head around it, honestly. I've been trying to do that. Let's see. Stroke of Genius is saying this was a non-apology, like Mila Kunis. Yeah, the apology, non-apology that Emily made. Yep, I agree. Mama Ray, I hope all of this works out. Maybe she will leave. Wishful thinking. What a joke in Chester's memory. I would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. All right. I think that's what we got, everybody. Thank you for being here. If you could all go show that like button some aloha on your way out, I would greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as well and hit your notification bell. Set it to all. I'm going to jump on a little bit later and show you guys some. I'm actually up north right now in Minnesota because that is what we do. As fall starts to become a thing, we scramble to go up north and experience some of the weather. It's actually kind of chilly, but I'm liking it because I love fall. This girl just loves fall. I really do. I hope all of you are getting out and that you have an amazing cult-free day.